Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, Day After Show Live. We are here today coming to you from Blood Buzz Show, Ohio, various places around the city of Cleveland. Good, my live studio audience liked that one. And I'm here with my friend Neil and our friend Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi, guys.
So excited to have you back. We've been wanting you back for so long, and here we are. We finally had a show in your neck of the woods.
So excited to be back. So excited to be back. 2025 Goose, new band that we're seeing, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive right in. You know, a treat, Neil. You know, your first show of the summer last night. Emily, was this your first show of the tour as well?
All good.
Oh, right. I saw you there.
But proper, but like other than a festival, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, let's start with both of you guys, since I've seen a lot of shows on this tour. What were your thoughts going into last night? And Emily, I'm assuming you were at this venue last year, but thoughts on the venue and pre-show.
So this is one of my hometown venues. I mean, I lived away from Ohio for 10 years when I lived in Boston. But growing up, going to high school, this was I saw Bob Dylan here in 2006. So venue means a lot to me. Vibes all around. Such a good venue. Any venue on the water. But I just feel like lines wise, just they run it well there at Jacobs Pavilion. So I thought vibes were high. Our crew took a party bus in. I live in Youngstown, Ohio, so it's about an hour, 20 minutes, 80 minutes drive to the venue. But we all decided to crash at my house and take a party bus in, and so we were ready. So vibes were very high going in.
We'll take the lot scene to the lot.
Exactly.
The entire way. Love
there
it.
You go.
Too much of a lot scene. Did you guys? I didn't know.
There were some people tailgating in the lot. You know, but
we talked to some tailgaters. We had some brief conversations out there.
Ryan, we did get the debut of Storm on My Nerves yesterday.
Ryan did not like the initial episode of Storm on My Nerves. We do have to get that.
Is it on the cutting room floor, or is it?
It is very much on the cutting room floor. That will not be making the video.
I'll have to make my own. I will enlist Leighton tonight, and she will help. So
there you go. Neil, what were your pre-show vibes like last night?
Pre-show vibes, a little bit of rain, a lot of rain actually, and then
lots.
Did the walk to the venue, which we crossed over the river and saw it was like rapids. It looked deadly. There were like tree trunks floating down. I mean, it was intense. But the river is beautiful. The venue is awesome. They do have like a nice lot out there where you can actually have a little bit of a lot scene if you so chose. Going into the venue was nice and smooth. Security was really nice and courteous, and it was everything that I was expecting from this place because I've heard a lot about it. And it's a really cool venue. Love it.
I agree.
One in, one out too. Like there's no confusing like how do I get out of here? How do I get in?
And with one entrance, one exit, not really a bottleneck either. Like people were flowing out pretty easily.
No Nalgene.
Getting in was fine.
No sealed water though, which is always
that's true.
Lame. Yeah.
Other thing about this venue that I noticed last night, and we'll see how tonight goes, but I think this is it for Goose. I don't think they can play this venue anymore because there were points at which last night that it felt very tight in the stands. I was like elbow to elbow with people.
It's going to be busier tonight.
Yes,
probably because Friday
and it's Showhio,
and it's Showhio. But I think that applied to last night as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, same for me. Neil, you were very blown away by the river. That was like you talked about that several times. You saw the tree and you were like, there's a whole tree in there.
There was you were not.
You never seen a
whole tree floating down a river?
Have you not seen a river before?
I've seen rivers.
Sometimes big pieces of wood floating in a river.
It was a piece of wood would be an understatement here, Ryan. It was a whole fucking tree. But in any case.
Okay.
Is it considered the river? Isn't it? I'm like, okay, keep going. Because it's the Cuyahoga. It's the Cuyahoga. Okay, yes, okay.
Yes, Josh. There are people playing pool in the background. Good hearing. All right, let's dive into the show here. We got Mas Kanata and Honeybee opening things up. Shout out to Nikki. for her birthday last night. All she wanted was her honeybee, and she got it. But Emily, what were your thoughts on these first two tunes?
Yeah, so I got a Mascanada my first show. I actually looked it up. It was in my encore. My first show is Moby Mascanada Encore. So honestly, I like the song a lot. I like the cover. My first thought was, and I think you guys observed this too, chomping was out of control. And I just kind of felt like Mascanada opened the door for chompers because it's a hard song to sing along with unless you're bilingual and you know the lyrics. So, not jumping ahead, but I almost wish Mascanada and Hot Love were flipped. Just like opening with a sing-along, I kind of think helps quell the chomping. And then Honeybee is, again, not really like a sing-along. So I just think it just, second song, the chomping continued. But I mean, playing-wise, great. I mean, I thought both sounded great. And it was a lot of people in our group's first Moss. So that's always fun.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, also Neil and I, you and I talked about this last night, that the PA feels a little quiet in this venue.
Yes.
I think that's just the way it's like bleachers and the way that it's set up. But no matter where you were, it kind of felt like it was missing a little bit of oomph. And so I think that when Mascanada started, I was like, oh, this feels a little quiet. And that really opens the door for chomping. Like, I think when the band is playing something really big and really loud, people are less likely to be talking. But that's been a trend on this tour, right? Like, as soon as they start getting into a quiet jam space, people start talking. And I think it's just, as they get bigger, there are new fans who aren't as into the music as people like us. Yeah. And, they're having a conversation. And I wish people wouldn't do that.
I mean, it's part of the live music experience. You just got to accept it, or find a place in the venue where maybe it sounds better, which I did last night. I left my seats and actually went to the side of the, where the stands are. And the sound was incredible everywhere in the venue.
Yeah.
Go behind the stands and the sound was still incredible there, which was really interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, Mascanada, first time as an opener. Surprised to see this here, but again, just unpredictable set listing, which I love. And I get the point about maybe Mascanada would have worked better mid-set, but I think it's trying something new and putting Hot Love mid-set instead.
Yeah.
Of no great consequence. Neil, you got anything to add here?
Nothing to add. Mascanada, right, I love. It's always good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does a lot. It didn't do that much last night. It was just kind of a good version of Mascanada. The vibe actually shifted considerably inside of the jam to something very, very different than the base of Mascanada. And so that part was neat. And so that's a good way to open a show, I guess. And then, of course, you can't have any Goose show without something from the opener's bag. So you get your Hot Love.
Well, Hot Love comes later, Neil. First, we have to talk about this 24-minute Torero that happens in the 3 slot here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting there, but we had mentioned the Hot Love, so I just wanted to
Sure.
Fair
Okay. Sure. And I guess Honeybee has been an opener before. It's part of that bag.
You know what? Actually, I was saying this last night. I have to say this now. I have come around on Honeybee. There was a stretch of time where I was very, very against honeybees showing up in shows. But now that it's a relative rarity, it's pretty nice. And Rick's solo in it is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know if it's a rarity anymore. They took it off the rotation for a year, but now this is 2 in just over a week. So, we'll see.
It's an outlier, right?
See what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like shredding Rick, then I mean, how can you not like that solo? It's always hits.
Okay, let's talk about this Torero.
Yes,
because I think we've been kind of waiting for Torero to do something like this, and the last, Mexico, the debut was fantastic to close the first set on night 1 there. Then the next 2, I feel like didn't quite venture outside of Torero, and so when it started last night, I was like, okay, it's still early show. Maybe we're just going to get a really solid jam here. This is fantastic. You kind of have 2 parts to it. There's that very groovy kind of 2 guitar thing that's closer to the song proper. And then you have that bliss segment towards the end that I wish had gone on a little bit longer. It feels like Rick pulled them back into the song, before they really kind of fleshed out the peak. But this is still a fantastic jam. Loved it again on re-listen this morning. Emily, what were your thoughts on the Torero?
I love it in the first set too. I think it lends itself really, really well. Just I don't know, the more upbeat, it's dancey. I loved hearing it again, and I agree. I think it was the only version since Cabo that really, stacked up against the initial first time played in Cabo. And I was ready for it. I had my Torero bracelet on from Marie, and I was very, very excited for it.
I also like when Rick says no.
This Torero, this is the best Torero they've ever played.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Easily. And there was a section in the middle of it that I thought sounded, and Garrett, who was standing next to me, he also thought it sounded a lot like Yamar. And I was like frantically texting Ryan that it was Yamar, which I don't think you agreed, but it was like a very island vibe jam. It was
you actually what you sent to me is he's a no good pa. Some might say a mean old pa, and I responded my grandpa.
Yes.
So I think that implies that I concur.
Yeah. It was that was a sick section, and I need to go back and listen to this one again. The only problem is I listened to it once today, and then I did a kind of listen through the second set, and then I just had to listen to the second set like 3 times.
Yeah,
so I have not really gone back to this, but I definitely need to dig in on this one because it's a sick version.
Yeah, and that that's how you know it was written under the Cabo moon, and that just has that flavor to it. That's many were saying, but
many were saying.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's really going to become one of my favorite songs. I really, really enjoy it.
Peter on guitar. We need more of this.
And we are just getting started with this song. But seeing it's still, we've been having this so much this year. Really, it's come back so much in 2025. But I'm still I love it's still a novelty again to have Peter on a 24-minute jam only on guitar.
Yeah.
And so it's a real treat. Second half of the set here, Hot Love, Mr. Action, Labyrinth, Hot Tea. Mr. Action was an audible, which is interesting. It was not on the written set. This is a first set. Hot Love, Mr. Action in the middle of the set, fine. People are having a good time. Labyrinth, we all know how I feel about the Labyrinth.
We don't need to dig deep on the Labyrinth.
No. We
or at least about your feelings on the Labyrinth. I have things I want to say about
it. And then Hot Tea does the Hot Tea thing for 19 minutes, to close out the first set, which
I disagree.
You disagree?
That Hot Tea is sick.
Yeah, I think it was above standard.
Yeah.
This is the kind of Hot Tea that they were playing in early 2022, though, where they would play it for 20 minutes and we would complain about it.
No, in early 2022, they would play Hot Tea and stay in the lane of Hot Tea. This particular Hot Tea...
Well, it's built around the Working Day and Night riff, but it's still Hot Tea.
You don't like Michael Jackson?
I do, but I think this would have hit just as hard if it was 14 minutes long versus 19.
So 19 minutes of a Michael Jackson jam, for me, is sick. So I don't know. Maybe you have different opinions. You obviously have different opinions, but I strongly disagree with you. Emily, what are your thoughts on this?
So what was was it Milwaukee or was it one of the Grand Rapids nights with the encore of the Hot Tea that was
Grand Rapids?
Yeah. So at night 2, I think. Yeah. So that Hot Tea, I don't think it was to that level.
No.
But I do think it's between the two, you know what I mean? Between the two.
Sure.
I don't think it's a standard tea. Many around me were saying that it saved the set. Because you have to remember, not a lot of people know Torero. So that was 23 minutes of a song people didn't know. And so, many were saying that it saved the set. I thought that the set was great without it. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a standard Hot Tea though. And I will say, I thought Mr. Action had a little, I don't know if are we going back?
Yeah.
No, you talk about it.
So Mr. Action, I feel like I said this the last time. I always just feel like it has a little something extra. And maybe I think it's because when I do my re-listens, I don't go back and listen to Mr. Action. So maybe when I catch it live, when I actually listen to it live. But I love the Labyrinth too. I mean, maybe I don't love the Labyrinth, but I do like it. But I do understand that it eats up time. But I do
think the longest 11 minutes in the Goose catalog.
But people do like and you do too, of the pre-orchestrated, what was it called? What's Yem? It's not improv, right? It's
compose.
Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Thanks, Neil. Compose. It's a compose, labyrinth. I don't know. And that can be comforting.
I'm a big fan of prog rock, Goose.
Yeah.
Goose is introducing proggier songs into the catalog now. Labyrinth is an oldie, but now Iguana is very proggy in sections, which I love.
Yeah.
And so I dig that about this. Now that there are other songs to give context to the progginess, then I'm stoked. I think on its own before it was just kind of like a weird song that doesn't really fit the Goose catalog. And if that's your complaint about it, Ryan, I don't disagree. But it also is 10 minutes, and it's 10 minutes of an extremely rare song, and it is cool. And there are a couple sections that I really, really love. There are a couple sections I agree are kind of yawners. You can't really dance to them. So you're kind of standing there and like awkwardly, tapping your foot or like bobbing your head a little bit out of time, or maybe in time. You just don't know. I don't know, but it's good. It's fine. Like I don't get mad about it being in the set.
Was the last one you guys caught Red Rocks? When was the last one? That was the last
seen
one
them all.
You're
Ryan,
muted.
You are still muted, Ryan.
The last one that I caught was at the Fox in Atlanta last year.
Okay.
This is the New Year's Eve one. But I've
they
seen
did it at
I've
New
seen
Year's?
4 of the last 5 Labyrinths.
Yeah.
Well, we don't need to beat it to death. You don't like the Labyrinth.
No,
I
we
like
don't.
the Labyrinth. I think it fits fine in a set.
A lot of people like the Labyrinth. I'm okay to have a
it's a fine first set song. Because in the second set, maybe I really
Sure. I mean, listen, the last time I saw it, the second set opened with Labyrinth So Ready. So
it's 30 minutes of just hanging out.
Yeah. So not what you want in set 2. But yeah, listen, if they're gonna play it, put it in the first set.
Yeah.
And I will say though, the last few minutes of it are great. But there's that moment 6 minutes in where you think you've made it to the end, and the song like kind of starts fading away, and you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then then the next section starts, and it's like, oh, it's still 5 more minutes. Anyway, this second set is incredible. And this reminded me of like St. Louis, for example, where like the first set was maybe not the greatest. Obviously, the first set in St. Louis did not have a fantastic 24-minute jam.
Right.
But overall, kind of a shaky first set in terms of set listing and flow, I think. And then they just came out for the second set and just like blew the doors off of everything, which is exactly what they did last night. I love everything about this set. 70 minutes of just like high octane Goose, great set listing, great flow, great jams. And people weren't talking as much.
Well, they tend not to talk when the jams are sick.
And Getty.
Yeah,
when the jams
were
were loud. There were some parts in the Monavon where people were talking, but
I think you said, Neil, it sounded like they were turned up in the second set. I think they sounded louder.
That usually happens when it gets dark, I think. I feel like
is that physics?
It just feels louder.
It definitely felt significantly louder right in Atlas Dogs, actually, not in a Monavon. It was right after I noticed. I was like, wow, that's really loud. I think somebody asked Loomis after the show, and he's like, I didn't touch anything. So I don't know. Maybe that was just my perception of what was going on.
Loomis also sometimes when the when people from the venue aren't paying attention, he gives a little more juice.
Well, so I've heard this from other touring musicians, not anybody connected to the Goose community, but sound guys are very well known for gradually increasing the volume of the show as the second set goes on.
Yeah.
Or as the show gets late into the evening. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was happening. And he just kind of had like an itchy trigger finger and just kind of went a little extra oomph
just like a little,
when that Atlas Dog started. But he denies. He said that was not the case. But
good. Plausible deniability. Yeah. So this Monavon, and just kind of my top level points on it, we haven't seen a full 2-guitar Monavon since February. And I feel like that's because the 2 versions that we saw in February, I feel like are not going to be topped. Like, I don't think they can in terms of like that kind of 2-guitar Monavon. So I think from Peter's perspective, there's more that he can explore playing it on keys rather than sticking to guitar. But on the anniversary of the Legend Valley 6/19/21 Monavon, we got similar kind of ebb and flow jamming style. And I love the way they wind up in that. The first few minutes of the jam as they kind of come out of the space, you get the synth. Trevor, again, so active in all of this improv, but I'm a big fan of this Monavon. This is on the playlist for sure.
No doubt.
Agreed. Great way to open a second set. A lot of people knew it. It was very exciting. I think people were very excited when the lights went down and realized that Monavon was starting. I also love Atlas Dogs in the second set. Man, I really think. I don't know. I mean, like we've been talking about, like creative set listing, and I don't know if it's like hey, we're trying to play songs from the album, so we're sticking them in new places, and if that's the reason, great. But I think Atlas Dogs is great in the second set. It's usually, I feel like I usually catch it in the first set, and I loved the transition, the segue into it, and then I mean, I loved this Mist. I've been on record to say that I'm not the biggest Mist fan, but this, I really, 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 really loved this Mist. I thought it was so good. Even if it was unfinished, I thought it was very...
Yeah. They don't have to finish the Mist. The Mist is fine if they don't finish it. There are only two people who really, really care about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to talk about this Madhavan.
Well, first of all, as we've said before,
yeah, my
good friend cares about it, and therefore I care about it.
Yeah, I guess I care about it maybe because you guys care about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this Madhavan does a couple things. It does like the sizzling Madhavan thing incredibly well. And then they kind of, as you said, Ryan, it's kind of like an homage to the Legend Valley 21 Madhavan, where they kind of do a very sharp start-stop thing.
Yeah.
This is different. This is actually like toying with dynamics, which they're so good at with Cotter now, where it's just like loud and soft and loud and soft. And they just executed it so incredibly well. I mean, that kind of improv to me gets me excited. And yes, absolutely, it's going on my playlist. Like I will listen to this like a million times. I just love the way that they're playing together right now. And this does feel like a distinctly Cotter thing. So there's no sharp start-stop to this. It is kind of a start-stop jam. It has that same effect.
Yeah.
But it's smooth.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel like they get it when they're doing those kind of start-stops that they're getting like caught, like there's nowhere to go. Right. And this didn't feel like that. This felt like each kind of, back and forth that they did, they were finding it was so fun. I kind of forgot that they did that back and forth. That was very cool.
Like I said, they're so good at it right now, and it's a neat jam. And I think this lends itself to the kind of dark jamming that we talk about all the time, that they've really been exploring, making more melodic in ways. This is like the very melodic side of that spectrum, where it is still somewhat Dark Goose a little bit. And then, of course, Rick, somehow, I don't know what was going on with his fingers last night, but the speed increased, and his playing throughout this set also was amazing. Rick has like on nights, right? Yeah. He has like nights where he does exceptional soloing, and last night was that.
Rick was on last night? Would you say that?
I would say that he's on. If Jive Goose was here, he'd roll his eyes and say something snide. But like, the other thing I want to say about this, because I think we're going to talk about this Madhavan and this Atlas Dogs. I think you have to because of the segue. But this is the perfect spot for an Atlas Dogs.
Yeah.
So it changes the song entirely. If you think about if they had tacked this onto the end of Mr. Action in the first set, we would have rolled our eyes and we would have all gone to get a drink, maybe something to eat, have a chat with some friends like in the concourse area. But no, they put it in between jams in the second set. And they should do that with more of these songs. Like, I think Mr. Action can do that. I think Atlas Dogs can do it. Certainly, Hot Love can live in the second set.
Dr. Darkness. I think Dr. Darkness can.
Dr. Darkness would be sick in that spot. So I really like what they did here. It was an excellent choice, and it could have been a bad choice. But I think it enhanced what Atlas Dogs is.
Yeah.
It should be a second set song.
Well, I think this is kind of how they've been using it this tour. It's not jamming, but it's also not just being Atlas Dogs on its own. They're segueing into it nicely, and then they're using it as a launch pad for whatever comes next. Looking at the last few times it's been played, you had in Vegas, you had it go into Big Modern. In San Francisco, you had it be the bridge between this old sea and Dripfield, right? Like in Mexico, obviously longer jamming with Dawes, but you had that as the launch pad into Rockdale. So I love the way that the song is, and then just thinking about what you said earlier about, Rick being on, like
he was on.
I'll admit I'm naturally contrarian when people say things like Rick is on tonight. Like for pretty much every show, they're all on. It's why Goose is so good.
Okay. Yeah. This is copy pasta, by the way, in case you don't know.
This is a classic
Jive Goose comment. It's really
I had to go back. I had to go back almost 3 years in the search to find that one.
Good for you. Kudos.
I searched for Rick is on and had to scroll.
You guys are not passive aggressive at all.
No, what are you talking about? Never.
We're terrible.
Okay.
You should see how do we talk to each other behind closed doors. It's awful.
Missed Hunger Site.
Yes.
Just a double dose of just like pure joy. Like both of these are just amazing. Hunger Sight, like I think belongs as a set closer at this point. I think it's excelling in this role and has been for quite a while. You had the Phoenix one, which was a 25-minute set closer, but I think it does this 14-minute or so thing last night so well. Just Rick, and then same with the Mist, like just the pure joy emanating off the stage in the form of the music that they were playing. It was incredible.
Great. I think if I was, Desert Island had to only choose, it would be this Mist Hunger Sight. If I could only choose 2 songs from this show, it would be the Mist Hunger Sight. I love that blissy, happy, and I also love when he really hits those notes on the Hunger Sight, like after the verses. I feel like there was a little bit after Radio City that he like was shying away from doing, didn't want to sound just like Child Trey did it. But I love when oh my gosh, there's just nothing better. I really enjoyed it. I'm not like a huge Hunger Sight fan, but I thought last night, because the lyrics, like, I don't know, they're not my favorite lyrics, but I do love the song, and I do love how everybody knows it, and it feels like a radio hit because everybody, around you knows it, and I don't know. I thought it was a great way to end the show.
Yeah.
This 1-2 punch of bliss jamming is insanely good. And there are times when Rick, again, his soloing, he kind of like levels up. And, you think back to the Mission Arcadia, of course. You think back to last year's Jam of the Year winner, the Philly Tumble. This was this style of playing that he was doing last night in these 2 songs. And the continuity of the 2 jams I thought was amazing. Like when Mist ended, I was like, oh, that was like they were onto something. And then right when it got into the jam section of Hunger Sight, Rick was just like, I'm going to do the thing. Like, you guys chill.
Right. When Rick does the thing. Yeah.
Yes. So,
hi, Garrett.
Oh, Garrett's there. Hey, Garrett.
I didn't even plug my phone in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. So there's not much to say about this because it doesn't do like different things. Like, the only thing we can say about this is that it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I was saying this last night that the Hunger Sight, or earlier, just before we recorded, this Hunger Sight, I think it goes on my playlists. It's a 17-minute song.
That's including the encore break, Neil.
Including the encore break, but the soloing is so good. It's so outstanding.
So, but did you have the Carnation one on your playlist last year?
It's a different year, man. 2025 is not 2024. Goose is a different band.
Jam.
Emily said it when we started the show. It is a different band this
Literally.
year.
Still the same jam.
They get to these spaces faster. They explore these spaces at incredible speeds.
I'm gonna say A/B those 2 because that one is 12 minutes, and does pretty much the same thing. And both are phenomenal, but I don't think they're playlist jams.
You will not gatekeep my Hunger Sight feelings, Ryan.
You can
like
keep
this
every single jam that I want to put on my playlist.
That's because you put literally every song on your playlist. There are 700 songs on your playlist right now.
Only 31 songs on my playlist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fine. That was close.
Well, that's pretty good. It's half the year.
I've got some support. Thank you very much.
Well,
and then
I'm gonna listen to it again.
Dubavon.
The Doobie-Von.
The Dubavon. Yeah. Wait.
I turned to Juzzle as soon as Doobie started, and I was like, they're gonna finish Madavon.
Yeah. There we go. Weed vibe. Thanks, Hap. Take a little rip. Shout out to Nate Bordash, who is probably taking a rip right now.
Oh yeah, water those palms, Nate.
Proper.
Water.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting that they very much wanted to do the Madavon ending in the encore like this because they were at the ending of Madavon during the Madavon jam, and then Rick was just like, we're not going to play it. We're going to segue here. Sure, like.
Yeah, I didn't think the transition from Doobie to the Madavon ending was very smooth.
No, Doobie ended and Rick was like, all right, we're going back into Madavon now. Like, there wasn't like a segue.
There was no segue whatsoever.
Yeah.
Very strange.
But the last time I saw Doobie was in the encore at Cincy, so I've only ever seen it in the encore spot, Cincy New Year's. And And I think, I mean, where else? I don't know. Where else have you guys seen it? I wouldn't want it anywhere but.
I'm looking right now. I've seen it as an encore 4 times.
Yeah.
But also, like, I mean, we were at Goose. They played it in the middle of the set.
Oh,
there.
right. Oh, true.
383. Neil and I were at.
I saw it in 2020. Like I saw one of the first couple versions of it.
I also, fun fact, I thought Doobie Song was a cover until like mid 2020.
Well, you would think that it is because it doesn't sound like any other Goose song, and it's kind of
maybe it was like spring 2021, and I think it was Jive who was like, "You're a moron."
New Year's 22, they cut Jeff Van Borg for Doobie.
Doobie Butter Rum and
Ugh.
That's
That hurts.
They're aware of what the song is. They know exactly what that song is. Nobody in that green room is like, Doobie's a sick song.
High level.
Like,
Yeah.
This is one of our best.
Also, shout out to Lucas, who got ejected from the 930 Club during Doobie Song in 2022.
Yeah. He's a problem.
Smoking a doobie.
DC sucks.
Amazing. Yeah.
Garrett from the Clouds, the disembodied voice.
Yeah.
No, any song that has gravity bong in the lyric is
it's ridiculous.
Incredible music. Music.
So Garrett
all
is
right,
like speaking from over here.
What's on the table tonight, guys?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah, it's all happening tonight. The songs that they have lined up for tonight, there's some absolute guarantees for tonight.
Big modern
tonight. Iguana song. Drive feels highly likely. Hate to burst Ryan's bubble. Fantasy Goose spoiler, but very high likelihood of the Seekers tonight. So get ready for that.
What do you mean hate to burst my bubble? I'm a realist. I know that it's coming.
You know that it's coming. So if you see Ryan, or if you hear the song, look for Ryan if you're at the show tonight, and take a video of it, and then post that to Blue Sky.
It's very obvious. The way the venue's set up, you can see everybody going to the bathroom.
Yes.
Watch me going to the bathroom and Seekers.
They played it at CMAC last year, so they're not going to play it.
They're going to play it now. Exactly.
Neil said they might.
Right.
That's not a real thing that they pay attention to, according to Neil.
What? That they don't repeat songs?
At venues?
There are facts that disagree with your statements, but in any case.
I don't think last night had any repeats from last year, right?
It didn't.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there's a lot on the table. It's Friday night in Ohio. It's going to be a good one. And I'm excited. Oh, it's the delinquent himself.
Hey, Lucas.
Garrett.
Garrett.
All right,
Garrett. Oh, and there's Leighton.
Leighton says hi too. All right, we're gonna get ready for the show tonight. It's gonna be a good one. We're gonna do another Storm on My Nerves before the show, and a Storm Tracker. Hi. Thank you everybody for joining us on this lovely Friday afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow on our way to CMAC to recap tonight's show. Emily, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being on.
Always appreciate it. See ya. Bye.
Awesome. Bye. Have a great day, everyone.